Hello, today I am going to show you how we can use dependency injection design pattern in .NET Core. In our last session, we have discussed how to use dependency injection in .NET Framework with Unity Container. So let's go ahead to check the agenda for today. So we will discuss why dependency injection required and use of .NET Core MVC application for dependency injection with controller injection in constructor, and we will also cover the very important stuff of dependency injection design pattern, including its advantages and its container important points. We will also go through the code coverage with the hands-on practical session and basic understanding of object-oriented concepts and MVC application will be very helpful. So I strongly suggest you to watch these videos as well on solid design patterns and type of design patterns, including repository, generic, unit of work, and dependency injection with Unity framework. Okay, so let's go ahead to check the few very important facts. You should not miss these one. As you can see on the screen, we can see a one class is calling two services, service A and service B, and after some time every piece of object is calling each other, and it's very tedious to maintain the complexity, and we want to make the application simpler. So a dependency is an object that another object depends on, right? If one of the objects it depends upon the another object, so in that way that is called dependency in simple terms. So the dependency injection pattern is a particular implementation of inversion of control. So you must be thinking, what is inversion of control? Means the objects do not create other objects on which they rely to do their work. Instead, they get the objects that they need from an outside source, or you can say the container framework. Okay, so dependency injection means that this is done without the object intervention, usually by a framework component that passed constructor parameter and set the properties. We will see how we can achieve the same thing in .NET Core. And one more important thing, dependency injection is sometimes compared with abstract factory design pattern for creating IOC container, but there is a slight difference between both approaches. DI has a framework working behind to solve dependencies by calling the factories and the register services. If you want to learn about abstract factory design pattern, so I will see you in the next video that I am going to cover in the upcoming sessions for abstract factory. Okay, so many of the very important concepts I have already covered in my last video. So for this session I will strictly focus on the practical one. So let's switch to Visual Studio. This is my Visual Studio, and here you can see the application ASP.NET Core app, and this is the same application that I have used in my last session. Okay, so as you can see in this session, if I quickly go through you, so this is my books controller, and we are designing the entities with data annotation, and this is my controller, and this books controller is auto generated by entity framework. Okay, and we can see all the methods. This is a typical implementation of controller. Books controller we have, and we have a book context private variable, and every method you will see it's async and await stream. Yes, if there is a method in a controller which is async and await, then we call it async stream. Okay, so all methods using async and await one. Okay, and with dependency injection here in this controller. Okay, and there are two very important steps that we need to do. Inject the dependency in this books controller. This is one part, and controller is available in the controller folder as of now. Okay, and the second, we have to register all our services that we want to use in our application. Okay, and that will be available automatically with the help of this iService collection. If you will read out the auto generated information which are aligned here, this method gets called by the runtime. Use this method to add services to the container. Okay, for more information we can check this link as well. So we will register all our services in this iService collection container, and this is very useful. Okay, so just to save the time, let me add the changes that we want to perform on this starter.cs file to add the dependency. So I have added only one line of code here, which is services.add transient. Okay, So transient is the one that you should try to use everywhere if possible, and it will create a new instance every time whenever you call it. Okay, and here we are passing the iBook repository and the book repository implementation. Okay, if I will show you in this way, it is asking for the type service and type implementation, okay, that we already have, and I am using the same repository and repository implementation that I used in the .NET. So we will see what are the required changes that we need to. I made few changes in this piece of code. So you can see in our book controller, I have removed the DB context dependency from here, but now we are calling the book repository. Okay, and at runtime when we will use this book controller, at that time this dependency will be resolved. And why it will be resolved? Because we have already specified our dependency in a startup.cs class as transient service. And one more important thing, because we have generated entity framework auto generated controller, and you can see all of its method are of async and await type, and they also expect the result of the same type. Okay, so we have to implement the repository in that way so we can get the awaitable result, and that can be that will be suitable for this all asynchronous methods. Okay, you can see this is the asynchronous index, and this is a task of detail type. This is also asynchronous version, and further you can see task is here where we are creating. This is also a task which is awaitable. Okay, I will explain every piece of code that I have changed in this, and before that I just want to share some changes that I made in this iRepository interface, because we are using the async and await, and we want to consume the repository in that way, so that there will be no problem of thread pool. There will be no need of creating new thread to serving all the requests. In this interface I have different types of methods, and why just want to give you more knowledge about it, because you can see in the first method we are returning the IEnumerable of book result, and in the second method we are using IQueryable. And if you don't know the difference between IEnumerable and IQueryable, so stay tuned for the same. I will discuss in the upcoming video, but the major thing is on IQueryable everything is processed on the server side, but in IEnumerable we process everything in memory collection. Okay, and you can see the further get all books. This is a asynchronous version. Let's see how we are implementing all these. We can see get all books asynchronous, get book by ID asynchronous, and we have non-asynchronous version as well. And why I mention both of them here, just I will show you at the time of implementation what is the actual difference between those, because it's not easy when you are actually going to implement. It looks easy. Okay, so let me show you the complete implementation. So as you can see in this repository we have moved the DB context reference from our controller to book repository. Okay, and here we are instantiating the object, and we are implementing every method in a way so we don't need to apply much effort on the controller side. So everything async and await type of result we can get from here. So if I talk about the get all books async, so you can see we can call the await, and we can call the context, and we need to use the set method. And basically if you want to achieve the asynchronous version, and this set method creates a DB set that can be used to query and save the instances of book. Okay, and this is a generic one. We can apply any type of model that we have. Okay, so this is get all books, this is get book by ID. If I expand here, this is a non-asynchronous version. Okay, it is not the synchronous one. And if we talk about the get book by ID, so we will use a find async, because we are supporting the asynchronous processing, so we will use the asynchronous method. Okay, if you will use the non-async one, then you will get the error and the result is not awaitable. Okay, so this is a non-asynchronous one version implementation. So this is a add book implementation of asynchronous. We will use the add async. Okay, these are the non-asynchronous version. And even if we talk about the save async version, so this method is also available in asynchronous manner in DB context. Okay, so these are the most important implementation part that I made for you. and you can get all this piece of code through the GitHub repository. Link is given in the description of this video. Okay, so we have covered the interface as well, we have covered the implementation of its repository, and let's have a look how we have implemented this in our controller. So if I talk about, this is our controller, this is our dependency, it will be resolved. And if I talk about the index task, okay, so we are calling the get all books asynchronous, okay, that version. And if I talk about the detail, so we are also calling the asynchronous one, and everything is available, which is important to use this. Okay, even for the post method, suppose we are creating a new record for the book, and we are specifying the all asynchronous version and even calling the save async method. So in this way you can implement, and you can take a pause and get the latest code from the repository. Link is given, and see, and if you face any issue, just drop me a message. I will reply on that as soon as possible. I hope it is clear for you now, and let me show you how it's working. Let me run this application, and this application is behaving in the same way as it was working with the .NET, as I explained in our last video. So you must check that. I have explained in detail why we should use dependency injection. Okay, so you can see there is a simple book management system. We can create new one as well. Go back, we can modify the detail of any book. Okay, let's suppose if I want to modify this one, if I made it 51, I mean just for the random purpose. Okay, so you can see things are working here. Even you can see the detail as well, and we can perform the delete operation as well. It is the confirmation section. Okay, so I hope you like the video. Thank you very much. Before closing the session, I want to cover the very important concepts from the container and the advantages point of view. So let's go back to the session. So let's move ahead. So from the container point of view, the points that I want to share with you is restriction of dependency in a service container. .NET Core provides a built-in service container that we have just seen, iService provider, and services are typically registered at the app startup and appended to the iService collection. Once all services are added, you use build service provider, which called internally, and you can find its implementation in the code itself. It is very easy to create the service container. Injection of the services into container of the class where it is used. The framework takes on the responsibility for creating an instance of the dependency and disposing it when it is no longer needed. This is very important point, and we are disposing all the dependency which are no longer used. So you can understand the importance of this service collection container. Okay, now if I talk about the service lifetime, as you can see, we just use the transient service which are created every time they are injected or requested. There are two other type of services that we can use in ASP.NET Core dependency injection. The one is scoped service, are created per scope. In the web application, every web request creates a new separate service scope. That means scoped services are generally created per web request. Okay, and if it is not clear, you can leave a comment. If you have any doubt, any suggestion, then I will try to reply on that as soon as possible. And the third one is the singleton service, which is very familiar and very famous one, are created as per dependency injection container. That generally means that they are created only one time per application and then used for whole the application lifetime. Okay, and let's talk about the advantages. The advantages are reduce class coupling and increase the code reuse. We can also say improve the code maintainability and application testing point of view. If you want to learn more about the dependency injection, you can watch my last session. Okay, so I hope you like the video. If you have anything that you want to say on this video, please write into the comment box. I will reply on that as soon as possible, and your feedback is very important. That's the only inspiration for me to create such videos. If you like this, if you like the concept that I have just shared, if you like my hard work, so hit on the thumbs up and hit on the subscribe. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next video where we will discuss abstract factory design pattern. Bye bye.